Get ready, because today we're going deep into Linux gaming. It's a story full of secrets, a bit of detective work, and a whole lot of tech intrigue. Our source material this time comes from Phoronix.
Oh, Phoronix.
Yeah, they're like the ultimate source for all things Linux hardware, right?
They always seem to find the most interesting stuff going on in the Linux world.
Absolutely. They're on top of it.
Yeah.
So the story starts with the Lenovo Legion Go S. Have you heard about this thing?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay, so this is a brand new gaming handheld that's going to be hitting the market soon. And the cool part is it's going to be running on SteamOS, which, as you know, is built on Linux, specifically Arch Linux.
Yep.
So Phoronix was poking around the Linux kernel, the heart and soul of the operating system,
Like
right?
the foundation of everything.
Yeah.
Linux.
And they found something really weird.
Oh.
And it seems like Valve, the masterminds behind Steam, kind of snuck in support for the Legion Go S controller, but they did it under a very strange name.
Oh, interesting.
They called it the QH controller. So right away I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? Why all the secrecy? This is suspicious.
It definitely raises some questions. Yeah, why the hidden name?
Exactly.
Let's see if we can get to the bottom of this. What else did they find?
So Phoronix dug into it, and they found a patch submitted to the Linux kernel by, get this, Pierre-Loup A. Griffes,
Oh, wow.
who is a legendary Valve developer.
Huge in Linux gaming.
Yeah, exactly. Huge in the Linux gaming community. And this patch added support for this mysterious QH controller to the kernel's XPad driver.
Okay.
For those who maybe don't know, the XPad driver is what lets Linux talk to game controllers.
Makes sense.
So, makes sense. This patch was super important to make sure that this new Legion Go S controller would actually work on Linux.
Yeah, it seems like a pretty standard update at first glance, but that name, QH controller, is what's throwing me off.
Right.
It just doesn't ring a bell.
It's like a secret code or something. And that's where the detective work really gets going. So they're like, okay, who is this QH electronics company? And they searched everywhere. Phoronix couldn't find anything about them except for this patch, which is, starting to get a little bit weird.
Yeah, that's pretty strange. Like, where did they come from?
Right. It's like they appeared out of thin air.
Okay, so hold on. Did they ever figure out who QH Electronics actually is?
Well, it turns out Phoronix found another set of patches later on. And this newer batch of patches, they spilled the beans. The QH controller was just a code name for the Legion Go S controller the whole time.
Whoa, really? So they were working together secretly?
Yeah, Valve was working with Lenovo behind the scenes, keeping it all hush-hush, like a top-secret mission.
I mean, I know companies use code names sometimes.
Right.
Especially when they're working on new hardware that they don't want to announce yet.
Yeah.
It's like how AMD uses those fish names for their graphics cards before they're released.
Right, yeah, like they're trying to throw us off the trail. Exactly. It's kind of funny. It reminds me of like those movie studios that use fake names for movies while they're filming, to keep things under wraps.
Yeah. There are parallels in all sorts of industries.
Totally. But it makes you think, why all the secrecy in this case? What were they trying to hide?
Right. Like, what's the big deal about a controller getting support in the Linux kernel?
Yeah. I mean, it's open source software, so shouldn't everything be, out in the open?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they even mentioned in the patch that they might handle things differently in the future. They talked about something called udev rules.
udev rules.
Yeah, it sounds kind of sci-fi, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
But basically, it's a way to manage all the devices on a Linux system.
Oh.
So like when you plug in a new gadget,
Right.
like a keyboard or, in this case, a game controller,
Right.
your computer has to figure out what to do with it.
Yeah.
udev rules are kind of like a set of instructions that tell the computer, hey, this is a controller, so use this specific driver to make it work.
So it's like a set of rules that make sure everything plays nice together.
Exactly. And in this case, they could have used a udev rule to quietly enable the driver for the Legion Go S controller without having to make a big, obvious change in the kernel itself. It's like having a secret handshake for specific hardware.
A secret handshake for hardware? I love it. It's so sneaky. But wait, there's more. This patch didn't just add support for the Legion Go S controller. They also added support for controllers from some other companies too, like Zotac and TECNO.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so this seems like it might be a bigger trend, Hardware makers are working more and more with the Linux folks to make sure their gadgets work perfectly on Linux.
It's great news for Linux gaming. More options, more compatibility.
Right. It's awesome. But it still makes me wonder, why all the secrecy around the Legion Go S controller specifically?
Yeah, what were they trying to hide? It's a real head scratcher.
I know, right? It's a good thing we're here to unravel this mystery.
Exactly. Let's see if we can get to the bottom of this.
Let's do it. We'll be right back after a short break.
Well, maybe they wanted to keep a competitive edge. What if Lenovo's getting ready to launch this awesome new Linux-based gaming handheld?
Right.
And they want to make a big splash.
A big splash.
Yeah. Keeping it secret that they were working with Valve. That could have been a way to build hype.
Like a ta-da moment.
Exactly.
Like, look what we did.
Right.
Surprise, everyone.
It's all about controlling the narrative, right?
Yeah.
Making sure everyone's focused on the Legion Go S and how awesome it is with Linux.
And its Linux capabilities.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Or maybe it was a timing thing.
Oh, that's true.
Like, what if the Legion Go S wasn't actually ready to be shown off yet?
Right.
And if they revealed the controller support too early, people might figured it out.
Like spoiling the surprise before the party even starts.
Exactly. They wanted to have everything lined up perfectly, the hardware, the software, the marketing.
All the pieces in place.
Yeah, before they announced anything officially.
It's like a big puzzle, right?
It is.
You got to make sure all the pieces fit at the right time.
Yeah. But going back to that competitive edge idea, do you think maybe they were worried about other companies, like their competitors, finding out what they were doing?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
The handheld market, it's cutthroat.
It's brutal out there.
Yeah. And any advantage that Valve and Lenovo could get would be huge.
Yeah. It's keeping things quiet.
Could have been a way to stop others from copying them.
Yeah.
Or even messing things up.
Trying to sabotage their efforts.
Exactly.
It's like a game of chess.
It is.
Where every move matters.
Big stakes.
Yeah. But wouldn't revealing the controller support early have also gotten Linux gamers really excited?
Oh, for sure. That's a good point.
Wouldn't that have been good for both Valve and Lenovo?
Yeah. I mean, there's always a balance between generating hype and keeping things under wraps.
Right. Yeah.
In this case, maybe Valve and Lenovo decided that the benefits of staying quiet outweighed the potential benefits of getting people excited early on.
It's a tough call.
It is.
But you know what? No matter why they decided to keep it a secret, this whole thing just shows how important Linux is becoming in gaming.
Totally agree.
It's not just for, hardcore techies anymore.
It's going mainstream.
Yeah. It's becoming a real contender.
Absolutely. And this whole collaboration between Valve and Lenovo, it just proves how far Linux gaming has come.
Yeah.
Like, big companies are taking Linux seriously.
Yeah.
They're willing to put in the time and effort to make sure their products work great on it.
And that's awesome news for gamers.
Absolutely. More options, more flexibility, more ways to enjoy your favorite games.
Yeah, on an open source platform.
Exactly.
Speaking of exciting stuff, remember we were talking about udev rules?
Oh, yeah, those sci-fi rules?
Yeah. So it turns out they're not just for discreetly enabling hardware.
Oh, really?
They're also a great example of how the Linux community works together. It's like this big open forum where anyone with the right skills can contribute.
That's the beauty of open source.
Right.
Anyone can chip in.
Yeah. And in this case, it directly benefits gamers because their controllers are going to work smoothly on Linux.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And it's not just controllers, right?
Yeah.
udev rules are used to manage a whole bunch of devices, keyboards, mice, you name it.
Yeah. It's a super flexible system.
Yeah. So from what seemed like a tiny detail about a hidden controller name, we've stumbled upon this huge story about Linux gaming.
It's a rabbit hole, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it just shows you how connected everything is.
Yeah. But what about our listeners? What does this all mean for them?
This isn't just about companies or code.
Yeah.
This is about gamers having more control.
Yeah.
Linux gaming is giving you more control over your gaming experience.
It's about breaking free from those closed ecosystems.
Yeah.
And having the freedom and flexibility that Linux offers.
Exactly. You're not stuck with what a few big companies decide anymore.
Right.
With Linux, you can customize your gaming setup however you want. You can try out different hardware and software.
You can experiment.
You can be part of this awesome community.
Yeah. It's about taking control of your own digital world.
Yeah, exactly. And this whole episode with the secret code names and the collaboration, it just shows how dynamic and exciting this world is.
Yeah, it's constantly changing. So we started with this little patch in the Linux kernel.
Yeah.
And we ended up uncovering a whole secret operation with Valve and Lenovo and this QH code name. Who knew?
It's like we're tech detectives.
I know, right? It's kind of fun, actually. I bet some of you listening were thinking something was fishy when you first heard about that QH controller.
Yeah. You get that feeling like when you're reading a mystery novel
Yeah.
and you start to see those little clues.
Yeah, you're like, wait a minute.
Something's not adding up.
Yeah, exactly. And in this case, the truth is a pretty big deal for Linux gaming.
Oh, absolutely.
Linux is breaking out of that little niche it used to be in.
Yeah, it's ready for the big time.
It's coming for the big guys.
Yeah, it's giving gamers a real alternative.
An open and customizable experience.
Exactly.
And this story's not over yet.
No way. This is just one chapter.
Yeah, Valve and Lenovo. That's just the beginning.
Who knows what's next?
Maybe the next big thing in Linux gaming is being made right now.
Right under our noses.
Hidden behind another secret codename.
Waiting for us to discover it.
That's exciting to think about. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing we want our listeners to take away from all of this?
The gaming world is changing. Linux gaming, it's not just about the technology.
Yeah.
It's a whole different way of thinking about games.
It's about choice. It's about freedom.
It's about being part of a community that's pushing the boundaries.
Taking control of your gaming destiny.
Exactly.
That's powerful stuff. Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the Lenovo Legion Go S and the mystery of the QH controller. We hope you enjoyed it, and until next time,
Keep exploring.
keep asking questions.
And keep diving deep.